You're listening to the AFUK UK episode review podcast. During this podcast, we're going to be talking about episode 21, City of Blood, as well as discussing Oliver's logic. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter, or email to give your thoughts. But for now, sit back and enjoy the podcast. Hello, welcome back. You are listening to the AFUK UK episode review podcast. I'm your host, Bradley. I'm joined as usual by Corey. Hello, Corey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, and you?
I'm good, thanks. So obviously, we are going to be talking about the latest episode called City of Blood. Corey, what were your initial thoughts on the episode?
I think it picked up nicely after last week. I mean, after that ending, obviously it's going to be hard to match it this week, really. But I think it picked up the plot points well. I think we had some interesting moments, like Oliver's reveal to Blood, and also just pretty much the final few minutes in their entirety, really, with what went on there. So, interesting episode. Didn't really sort of pack the same punch, I don't feel, as last week did, but, you know, that was always going to be hard to top anyway. But, yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think my view on this episode is that it wasn't the best of episodes. You know, there were some places where it lacked in quality. But the point of the episode was to say, here is where we are at the end of episode 20. We're now going to transfer that into where we're going to in the last two episodes. This was kind of a setup episode rather than full-blown chaos.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar to The Undertaking, actually, last year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You say about Oliver revealing himself to Blood. We say it every week that we hate people learning Oliver's secret, and yet every single week I seem to say that actually this person learning is alright.
Yeah, I mean, it adds another dimension to the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure he would have found out anyway, because I'm pretty sure Slade would have told him eventually, but yeah, it was interesting how that came together, and yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens next with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Blood's not going to be sticking around for long, I wouldn't think.
No, I'd be surprised if he's not in a body bag by the end of the season.
Yes. But him learning it is sort of, it adds a new dynamic, considering they are meant to be friends, and now suddenly they're enemies.
Yeah, and Oliver was slightly tempted to kill him right then as well.
That would have been an interesting twist.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't quite know how that would have played out.
No, yeah, I'm guessing that would have hampered Oliver's bid against Slade just slightly.
Yes, I don't think it's very easy to stop Slade from behind bars.
Not really.
No. But yeah, as I say, I mean, it wasn't the best of episodes, but it served its purpose. It set things up for a really fantastic final two episodes.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I got. I mean, it's funny, the episode was going along, and obviously we got all the promo images last week, and I was kind of waiting for all those to come up, and it got to like 37 minutes, and I was thinking, we still haven't seen all that yet. And it kind of, I guess, it just all came together at the end, and like you say, it wasn't the best of episodes, but by the end I was already quite impatient for next week, so...
Yeah, I felt that was interesting, that Oliver wasn't featured until about halfway through. It really felt weird, actually.
Yeah, it did, actually. It was strange to kind of just have it without him, I guess. I mean, even when he's, you know, if we've got a Diggle-centric episode or something, he's still featured quite prominently in it. And we didn't have him at all, and it was, you know, it took their time bringing him back. Which wasn't a bad thing, I don't think, because the severity of what happened at the end of the past episode, it was nice not to just brush that under the carpet straight away. It was good to see the impact of that play out.
Yeah, I'd agree there. But yeah, I mean, it kind of took a little while to get into it. But everything sort of came quite well, actually. But let's not have another episode where Oliver isn't featured for half of it, because it's a nice change for once, but for a second time, repeating that would probably get a little bit boring.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't really got the Arrow going around doing stuff, or it wouldn't work again. But it just set things up nicely. We obviously know he's not perhaps on top of things mentally at the minute, but it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with everything that's kind of kicking off now. So
yes, definitely. Okay then. Okay, so we're going to move on and talk about the topic of Oliver's logic, or his lack of. This has been a sort of, blatant topic that's been popping up all season, where Oliver seems to say one thing, then completely contradicts himself, and looks like a total idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Case in point, persuading Roy to control himself by making him think of Thea back in Tremors, and then 5 episodes later, telling him that Thea is not safe around him and to break up with her.
And that led to him getting rather aggressive, going on a bit of a rampage, and that. And
Thea being kidnapped.
Yep.
Slade telling Thea that Malcolm is her father.
Yeah.
What we could just do is we could just blame these last 3 episodes entirely on Oliver.
Yeah, there's reasonable cause for that as well.
So, I think the question comes, why is he being so stupid lately?
I really don't know, to be honest. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, you would have thought years on the island and that he would have learned a few things. Especially with, I think I wrote it somewhere about the first time he got Slade to calm down, but before Slade found out about the whole Shadow thing, he got him to think of Shadow, and that stopped him going nuts. And you kind of would have thought he would have learned from that in the future and tried to keep Roy on a good path, thinking of Thea, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem to learn many lessons along the way, I guess.
No, he doesn't. To be fair, I can sort of understand his lack of clear thinking when it comes to the fact that he learns that Slade's alive, and knows that every single minute of every single day, Slade could just be around the corner to kill anyone close to him.
Yeah. I guess you can understand the kind of erratic nature of his thinking to a point, but I guess sometimes, especially with the Thea thing, you would have thought, if he lets Roy stay with her, then he's going to protect her. You can't really see him hurting her. I don't know, it's just a strange one. But yeah, I think you could put a lot of it down to Slade's re-emergence playing on his mind. I think it was Suicide Squad we kind of saw, Slade was really getting to him without really being around.
Yeah, and I think that actually you can sort of understand that he can go through this, but what I can't understand is the fact that obviously he knows that he's not going to be able to think clearly with him around. So why not actually try and listen to, Diggle, Felicity, Roy, because they obviously don't know that, they know that Slade's a threat, but not as big a threat as Oliver knows he is.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, what's the point of having a team if you're not going to listen to him?
No, this is true. Yeah, I mean, I can't quite figure out why Oliver just ignores everyone in Team Arrow. To be fair, Sarah does no better. She doesn't listen to Oliver.
No, that's true.
But then it is Oliver's team. You know, I mean, actually that makes it worse for Sarah, doesn't it? That she's not listening.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Oliver's obviously done well with Diggle and Felicity helping him last season. So it would surely be slightly logical to trust their judgment.
Yeah. Well, you'd think so, but I guess it's just a thing. He perhaps feels closer to Slade than they are, and I don't know. He's definitely scared of Slade, quite obviously, and it's definitely impacted his judgment. But if you know that Felicity and Diggle have always kind of been there and kept him going. I think especially I think it was Sacrifice where Oliver was quite willing to go to Malcolm on that occasion, knowing that he might not be able to beat him, but Diggle made sure he'd go with him. And, you know, they're there for him, they want to help him, and he just, I don't know, it's a hard one to kind of answer, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was willing to sacrifice himself in this episode in order to protect the people closest to him, to prevent that one more. But if you look at it last year he was prepared to sacrifice himself to save the entire city.
Yeah.
Now, while he obviously knew that the Miracle soldiers were sort of ready to be unleashed, but he didn't really go into it thinking, I'm going to sacrifice myself to save the city. I'm going to sacrifice myself so that Sarah, Felicity, Diggle, Thea, they can all survive.
I guess you can look at that one two ways. It's either the personal nature of what Slade's doing is clouding his judgment, or like he was talking to Blood, he genuinely believes that Slade doesn't actually care about the city, and all it is getting to Oliver, and perhaps if Oliver gave up, he wouldn't bother with the city thing. But sort of thinking about it, I'm not sure that. I think the first one's more likely, really.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before. Slade does not care in the slightest bit what Sebastian Blood does to the city.
No.
All he cares about is that Blood does not harm in any way anyone close to Oliver, because that is Slade's job. Yeah. Slade will do that.
Yeah, because I think I was thinking about that actually. If now Blood knows who Oliver is, if he'd threatened to reveal that, but Slade would probably kill him if he did. So.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the most logical of ideas.
No.
And to be fair, how would Blood know anyway?
Yeah, true.
It'd be kind of difficult to explain that.
Yes, that is true, actually.
But then again, we're looking at someone who decided to draft a press release about Moira's death the day before it happened.
Yeah, not the... we could do a podcast on his logic.
Yes. What was it in episode 11? Blind spot. What was it? Slade described it, he gave an accurate description, and how have the police not arrested you already?
Yeah, it's to do with covering your tracks or something.
Yes. I mean, going back to your point about Oliver being close to Slade, that, although obviously he knows Slade, he knows what he's capable of, that is probably what works against him. The fact that he knows him, he's too close to him, he knows the threat that Slade poses. And I almost think he sort of exaggerates it. The threat is big, and obviously until now, it's been sort of sitting in the background. Oliver's been prepared for it, or trying to prepare for it. But until now, it's not really come to fruition.
Yeah.
And I think if he wasn't always kind of, I'm in charge, you've got to listen to me. As Roy put it, he is just the untouchable Oliver Queen. I think they probably could go about things better, because Diggle and Felicity know how big the threat is. But because they don't have that connection to Slade, they can sort of look at it logically.
Yeah.
I mean, even Sarah will be able to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, the other thing you say is when they've had this sort of situation before, not necessarily with Oliver, but he's kind of made the point to them that, you know, not letting certain involvements cloud their judgment. Like, I think it was in Seeing Red, he said to Sarah about, you know, Sin's involvement, not letting that cloud her judgment. I think we've obviously had it with Deadshot as well, you know, Deadshot and Diggle. But yeah, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you bring up that Deadshot Diggle comparison there, because obviously Diggle has a personal connection to Deadshot. So it does work in the exact same way as Oliver and Slade here, in the fact that Diggle wanted, I should say, to kill Deadshot, and sort of didn't make any second thoughts about it. And so sort of went there. He didn't really go about things in the best way, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that helps Diggle understand it even more. Diggle's been in this situation of, I'm too close to this person, but I'm not going to stop, obviously, because, you know, Deadshot killed his brother.
Yeah.
So I think he can understand where Oliver's coming from, in that he wants to kind of take over, not let anybody else get hurt. This has got to be done my way, because I created Slade and failed to stop him. I tried to kill him. And I know how to stop him now. But actually learning from it would have been helpful, because obviously Oliver took down Deadshot originally, and then Diggle went in and tried to stop him on his own without thinking, and failed.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably way past this now, but Oliver does need to start listening to Team Arrow if he's going to stop Slade.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of what you want to see happening in these final 2 episodes. And yeah, I mean, you kind of feel if he is going to stop Slade, he has got to listen to them, and they have got to be a team with the threat Slade's got and all that. And yeah, they've got it really is a case of thinking about it logically and rationally now, not making rash decisions like willingly giving yourself up to get killed. So yeah, fingers crossed it's going to play out like that.
Yeah, and I think I said it earlier, that was the most ridiculous decision ever.
Yeah.
Slade wasn't exactly going to go, oh, Oliver's turned himself into me now, don't bother with the Mirakura army, Sebastian.
Yeah, there's no way Slade was going to stop. He can just lock him up and make him watch it all, still kill someone else, and Oliver's not there to protect him now, and then kill Oliver. It's, you know, it's the whole thing about You go, sorry.
If he's got Oliver kept captive, he could just kill everyone close to Oliver.
That's very true.
And then kill Oliver.
Yeah.
Rather than just the one person.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
Yeah, the whole promise thing, you know, Oliver's got to see Slade's really going to make him suffer, and, you know, if he does that, he's giving him even more of an opportunity to make him suffer, so, yeah, it's not good decision making, Mr. Queen.
No, and that was the stupid thing about it, that actually turning himself in was the worst thing that he could have possibly done.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, you don't want to give Slade any advantage, and, yeah, I mean, just if he'd thought about it, surely he would have said that. I mean, I suppose he was grieving for his mother, but, yeah, and, ironically, I guess, it wasn't really what Laurel's pep talk to him that got him out of it. It was more him hearing about blood, really, wasn't it, that kind of stopped him wanting to go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't quite understand how the whole kind of talk, the city needs the arrow, etc. You know, you need to stop Slade, he's not going to stop even if you turn him in. Doesn't do anything, but suddenly, Sebastian Blood is evil, he's working with Slade. Right, that's it, I can't turn myself in now.
Yeah. Yeah,
I suppose it's sort of like Blood will harm the city now, and he knows it. But surely, if he turns himself in, the city's going to be in danger anyway, even if it wasn't for the Mirakuru army. He's turning himself in to try and protect his family, but yet he's now not going to turn himself in to stop Blood. It's all a bit of a weird way of going about things.
Yeah, it kind of... Yeah, it is its thought pattern there just doesn't really add up, I guess.
No, I mean, as I said, we said before, we can sort of understand the fact, especially in this episode, having just had Moira die like that.
Yeah.
I mean, last time someone close to him died, he went back to the island for 5 months.
Yes, that's true.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't really think Oliver's going to have time in these next 2 episodes to think about anything.
No.
But I would like to see an improvement on any thoughts he does have, because if he keeps being stupid and making the wrong decisions, then he's not a very good superhero in that sense, is
he? No. And something we'll probably get onto in our next section, but I guess a chance to kind of see how his logic's doing is when confronted with Malcolm Merlin, what he does with that, really.
Yes, that should be quite fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay then. So we're going to move on and talk about some odds and ends from the episode. I would just like to point out that sound that was added to the score for the last 10 seconds of the episode, seriously, what was that?
Yeah, I don't know myself.
It was very weird, and yet very cool.
Yeah, I guess we'll see if we see it again.
Yes, hopefully, because, yeah, it's sort of weird. I didn't really also quite appreciate the Argus music as much as I should have done until now. I actually really like that now.
Yeah, it's quite good. Vast majority of the music's very good, though.
We say this every week. I'm sure everyone gets bored of us saying it. Yeah. We're just going to keep saying it because it's always very good.
Yes.
Felicity started to have some funny moments again, and they didn't seem totally placed and forced.
No, that was good.
Yeah, I liked the funeral ones when she was like, I didn't even like Moira.
Yeah. And she went on and said how she was diabolical and stuff.
Yeah, it's not really funeral etiquette. I was really expecting someone to just sort of be listening to her conversation.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh. Not the best of conversations to be having at the memorial. If you're back in the Arrow Cave, you know, that might be slightly bit better.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's a little bit risky, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a tad. You might offend a few people.
Yes. And of course, her as an interrogator.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yes. I think we need more of that already.
Yes, Felicity Smoke, interrogator. It could work.
Yeah. Just give her a tablet and some Wi-Fi,
Yes.
and she'll get information out to anyone. So, yeah. Obviously, we saw confirmation that Isabel is still alive.
Yep, and I think she was pretty much more horrible than ever in this episode.
Yeah, and that's a serious achievement.
I think that, I mean, we were talking about Felicity being, what she was saying being, and her being overheard being a risk. Arguably, what Isabel was as well, because she was talking about their funerals. Someone overhears, hang on a minute, what are you talking about?
Nah, no one listens to Isabel. Yes, quite actually, yeah. Speaking of that, Laurel shouting, Ollie, when there's a bunch of Mirakuru people around.
Yes.
It's just like, yeah. Do appreciate he has a secret, and it's a secret for a reason.
Yeah.
Not that half of Starling City knows already by now, but, just try at least.
Yeah, just for the sake of it.
What else do we have in this episode? The flashbacks were interesting. Where's Sarah gone to then, do you reckon, in the flashbacks?
I'm not sure it's necessarily Slade, but I'm pretty sure it's someone from, I'm pretty sure it's Slade's doing of wherever she's going. So I guess we'll see next week, but I'll be very surprised if she's not on the boat now.
Yeah, perhaps Oliver for Sarah trade, just because Slade wants Oliver back.
Could be interesting.
Really? Why didn't you just keep Oliver in the first place?
That's true. Slade's logic's just as bad as Oliver's.
I suppose he wanted the thing to get off the island, but
No.
I don't know. What else happened? Can't really remember anything more. I mean, there was obviously the ending, kind of setting up everything. Don't know, actually.
We had...
the return of Walter.
Yeah, that was nice.
Thea leaving town as well.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody can blame her for that, but she's probably not actually going to get to leave now anyway.
No, I mean, I'd be a bit surprised if some Mirakuru soldier didn't get in her way.
Yes, you would be surprised on that one.
Yes. Yeah, I can't think of much more.
No. I guess we just had, I think we talked about it, we had Laura and Oliver talk about Tommy's last moments.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yes. Kind of, I guess that brings closure to that a little bit, and, she'll know it wasn't his fault now.
Yeah, I mean, I think she stopped blaming him a little while ago, but...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was slightly illogical there, wasn't it? The Arrow was at fault for Tommy's death.
Yeah, Tommy's best friend was at fault for his death, is basically what she's saying.
Yeah, I think she realises the stupidity of that now.
Yes.
So, yes. Right, well, we have to talk about next week's episode. It's called Streets of Fire. Mark Guggenheim and all the Arrow writers decided that they would continue on with the trend set last season of taking a Bruce Springsteen song as the title for the penultimate episode. It's a short press release. Malcolm Merlyn returns. Oliver rallies his team as Slade's soldiers attack the city. Felicity gets a call from Starlabs with game-changing news, and Thea comes face-to-face with, spoiler alert, her father, Malcolm Merlyn.
Yep, so, I think we can pretty much guess the game-changing news would be the Mirakuru cure.
Yeah, and we saw that she got the phone call at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Which is certainly very interesting. I mean, just in time really, because there's a bunch of Mirakuru soldiers walking about.
Yeah, it's not bad timing. A few minutes earlier might not have been too bad.
Well, maybe a couple of weeks earlier.
Well,
I tell you what, let me correct that. 5 years earlier, we might have been alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Oliver had chosen to use the cure 5 years ago, they wouldn't be in this mess.
Yep, very true.
Another bit of Oliver's logic there. Choosing to kill him over curing him.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if, he could try and cure him, and even if it failed, you could then go, oh, now we'll kill him.
Yeah, give it a chance, but if it doesn't work, then put a few arrows through his eye or whatever.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to have Malcolm back.
Yeah, that is going to be good.
I mean, we had him back a long time ago, obviously, but it's not quite as interesting when it's just a casual conversation of a threat from him to Moira. It's much more interesting when he is in his Dark Archer suit and doing something with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, and I guess the two questions there. It's going to be interesting to see how, number one, Thea reacts to him, and number two, how Oliver does.
I don't think Thea's going to... Well, I think Malcolm's going to be the one that saves Thea in the train station.
Yeah.
And so she'll probably react a little bit better than if he just sort of appeared out of nowhere.
Yes.
And I don't think Oliver's going to be very happy, but then again, to be fair, at this point, if Malcolm's fighting against Slade, I don't think he's going to care.
Yeah, I've heard that saying before. Something like, an enemy of an enemy is my friend, or something.
Yes. Slade is Malcolm's enemy because he's trying to hurt, well, the city and Thea, and, he can't obviously let Slade be more successful than he was at destroying the city.
No, absolutely not.
That's already at a risk, at the moment. How can that be possible?
Yeah.
Malcolm planned for 5 years, and yet he's going to be beaten by a one-eyed Australian.
I do like that way of describing Slade, because it just makes him sound, so tiny and useless pretty much. Just a nothing villain.
Yeah, that is interesting actually. Yeah. If he was, it would make life a whole lot easier for Oliver.
Yeah, he's just a one-eyed Australian who's a little bit angry, rather than a guy with an eye patch who has super strength, is very well skilled at sword fighting and other things, and
killing people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that would be quite interesting if he was just portrayed as a one-eyed Australian rather than what he is.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work.
No, I don't think it'd work quite as well. I don't think anybody would take him seriously.
No. Yes. Well, I think we've talked as much as we can about this one. And the next two episodes, well, certainly the next episode is going to play out in pretty much real time.
Yeah.
Which should be an interesting way of going about things. And obviously we've got a nice little setup going for the last two episodes here. And then disappointingly 5 months without an episode.
Yep, so I guess it'll be time to watch it all over again.
Yes, it will. Yes. Okay then. So we hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next week.